Hello friends, welcome to our channel Exploring Things Around and our course Learn C Programming A to Z. Today we'll learn about loops in C. So before we start, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please click on subscribe button. So far we have learned about sequential instructions where we learned about data type declaration instructions and we learned about arithmetic instructions. We also created interest calculator to understand that better. We have learned about decision control instructions. We implemented if else. We learned about else if clause. And to understand that better, we also created few programs like number comparator and finding greatest number. So these were some programs which we created to understand the fundamentals which we learn better. We have learned so far keywords like char, float, double, int. These are related to data type declaration. We have learned about short and long keywords also. Data, these are the data type size modifier related keywords. We learned about void and return. These are related with the functions. And we also learned about if and else keyword. So out of 32 keywords, we have covered these keywords so far, and few more keywords we'll be covering as we go deeper into this programming. So today we are gonna learn about loops in C. So before we go into loops, let's see why do we need it. So just suppose if you need to print numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to n times, and where this n, like till what number you need to print, that will be given by the user at runtime. We all know we can use printf to print anything on the screen, but do you think printf will work here? Because here n is not fixed. If we know like we need to print only 1 2 3 4 5 every time, you can directly write that in printf statement 1 2 3 4 5. But here it can change. You might have to print till 5, you might have to print till 15. That will be runtime driven. Similarly, suppose if you need to print the table in vertical fashion 2 4 6, you know you can print it by using printf function, but will that print will you be using printf function number of times? Like for example, if you need to print 5 times here 2 4 6 8 10, will you be writing printf 5 times? I don't think that would be a better approach. That won't be a best practice. Similarly, if you want to print a pattern, like you can see here star, then 2 star, then 3 star, then 4, this kind of thing. So these are the things for which we can utilize loop given in C. So what we can do, we need to find the pattern, and if the we need to find the pattern for any activity which we need to perform number of times. So here we know that we need to print a number of time for a given number of time. So till that time we can perform that printing activity. So here we can say printing activity we need to perform, and that we need to do in a repetitive manner. What we are going to print, that may vary. Like for example, you can see here first time we need to print 1 star, second time we need to print 2 star, third time. So how many times what we are going to print, that may vary, but action activity which you are doing, that is still fixed. You are going to perform print activity. So these kind of things you can handle using loops. So if you know till how many times you need to perform a fixed activity, or based on which condition, like it might be condition based, like till this condition is satisfied, you need to keep on performing that activity. Let's take an example. Unless and until you are not tired, keep cycling. So cycling is a fixed activity, and the condition is unless and until you are tired. Similarly, let's take an example what we created earlier. We created interest calculator, but would have noticed that was working only one time. That whole calculation activity was working only one time. If you run that exe file, that executable file, it will ask you for principal amount, it will ask you for rate of interest, it will ask you for number of years, and it will return you interest calculated and total amount. But that will work only one time. If you want to calculate again for some different principal amount or with different rate of interest, again you have to run that executable file. But suppose if you want to perform that calculation activity, interest calculation activity number of times, For example, let's say you give a prompt to user, do you want to continue again? And unless and until user is saying no, you keep on giving him prompt to recalculate with different values, with different principal amount, with different rate of interest, or with a different number of years. So here also activity is fixed. We want to calculate interest again and again unless and until we are saying no. Till that time your screen will not go away. So these kind of features you can easily implement with the help of loops in C. So there we have three types of loop: for loop, while loop, do while loop. We'll see in our next slides what is the structure of these loops, how do we frame sentences using these loops. But ultimately these all loops, be it for loop, while loop, do while loop, all are used to achieve this repetitive action, to perform this repetitive action again and again with minimal code. We don't have to write that activity again and again. We can put that inside the loop so that it performs that activity for us. So let's see the structure of for loop. So if you see here, for loop, first we declare the variable, and after for we have three placeholders here. First is initialize, then semicolon, then test condition, then semicolon, and third is increment or decrement. And inside this we have this do this, or you can say the perform activity which we want to perform. So this activity will be performed again and again till this condition is met. We see here test condition. Till this condition is true, this condition is satisfied, this activity will be happening and again and again. So we initialize a variable, this condition is tested, like if it is true or not. If it is true, activity is performed, again we perform the increment or decrement activity. Again this condition is verified, if it is true, again the activity will be performed. So this keeps on happening again and again. This cycle keeps on, this cycle keeps on recurring. Every time it happens till the condition is satisfied. Second kind of loop we have while loop. This also does the same thing, only sequence and the syntax is different. If you see here, we declare and initialize the variable first, and after while we write test condition. So same thing is happening here also. There also we initialize the variable first. If you go to for loop, so this initialize variable happens only one time. Then these three activities, looking for the condition, if that is true or false, then performing the activity, then implementing. These three events keep on happening in a loop. Similarly here also, first it gets initialized, after that condition is verified, condition gets validated, if that is true or false. If that returns true, activity gets performed, increment or decrement operation happens, again it goes back to test condition, again that validation happens, and if that is true, again this activity will be happening. So this keep on happening in loop, this keep on happening in repetitive fashion. So you notice both are for and while loop are doing same thing, only syntax got changed here. Let's go to our third type of loop, do while loop. So if you see here, it is just two keyword. One is do, another is your while. So here, first we declare and initialize the variable. After that, it goes to do. It reads this keyword do, and inside that, it performs the activity which you want to perform. It is not validating first. First, it is performing the activity which you want to do. After that, it will look for the validation. If the condition is satisfied, it will again perform the activity. So first time by default it will do the activity. After that, if it want to get repeated, it will look for the condition. If condition is satisfied, then only that activity will be repeated, will be done again and again. So I hope we are clear here with the for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So one thing to notice, for loop and while loop, in those cases your condition will be validated first. If that is true, then only the activity will be performed. But in do while, by default, one time your activity will get performed, and after that it will look for the validation, it will look for the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will repeat. So I hope you like this video, and thanks for watching. If you like it, don't forget to share it with your friends, don't forget to subscribe it, and we'll be back with more demo videos with more programs on these loops in C. We'll try to implement whatever we learned in this video. We'll create some demo programs using for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned.